Hey, everyone, there are some truths that sit in your chest for years before you're ready to look at them. And when you finally do, when you finally let yourself see what's been there all along, it doesn't just hurt. It rearranges everything you thought you knew about your life. Welcome back. It's Anna. And I need to be really gentle with what I'm about to say because this is about your mother. And talking about mothers, especially in ways that aren't glowing, that's one of the last taboos. One of the things we're not supposed to acknowledge out loud. But some of you need to hear this. Need permission to see what you've been avoiding. Need validation that what you're feeling isn't wrong or ungrateful or cruel. It's just true. Let me start by saying this. You may have spent your whole life making excuses for your mother, explaining away behaviors that hurt you, telling yourself she did her best, that she loves you in her own way, that everyone's family is complicated. Some people carry their mother's unresolved pain like it's their own responsibility. They become the parent in the relationship, the emotional regulator, the one who manages her moods, absorbs her stress, apologizes for existing in ways that inconvenience her. It might feel so normal to you that you don't even recognize it as abnormal. You think everyone's mother makes them feel guilty for having needs. Everyone's mother compares them to other people. Everyone's mother says hurtful things and then acts like it never happened. But everyone's mother doesn't do that. And the fact that yours does matters. Let's pause here because this is hard. This reflection invites you to consider, have you been avoiding looking directly at your relationship with your mother? Like you know something's not right. You feel it every time you talk to her, every time you have to brace yourself before a phone call, every time you walk on eggshells trying not to trigger whatever mood she's in. You may have friends who talk about their mothers like they're best friends. Like they can tell them anything. Like they feel supported and seen and loved unconditionally. And when you hear that, part of you feels jealous and another part of you feels guilty for feeling jealous because you love your mother. You do. But loving someone and feeling safe with them aren't always the same thing. It's possible what you're about to find out, or what you're finally ready to admit, is that your mother isn't capable of the kind of love you needed. Not because she's a monster, not because she doesn't care, but because she's so trapped in her own pain, her own patterns, her own unhealed wounds, that there's no room for yours. Some mothers are so busy being the victim in every story that their children never get to have their own pain acknowledged. Every hurt you bring up gets redirected back to how hard her life has been, how much she sacrificed, how ungrateful you're being for even bringing it up. And so you learn to be small, to not need things, to handle everything yourself, because needing something from her just creates more problems than it solves. You may have become hyper independent, not because you're naturally that way, but because dependency on your mother was too painful, too unreliable, too likely to end in disappointment. It can feel like you raised yourself, or like you've been parenting her instead of the other way around. And when people compliment you on being so mature or so self-sufficient, they don't realize it's not a choice. It's survival. This reflection invites you to consider, did you have to grow up faster than you should have because your mother couldn't hold space for your childhood? There's something specific about what it will hurt you so much means. It's possible the hurt isn't about discovering something new. It's about finally admitting something you've always known but couldn't let yourself believe. That your mother is incapable of seeing you clearly, that she projects onto you, that she competes with you, that she parentifies you, that she makes your accomplishments about her or your struggles about her or your entire existence about how it affects her. And admitting that, that feels like betrayal. Like you're being a bad daughter just for seeing it. Some people spend their entire lives protecting their mother's image, making excuses, minimizing harm, reframing abuse as just her personality, or she had a hard childhood, or that's just how she shows love. But love that consistently hurts you isn't love. It's trauma with good intentions. You may be realizing that your mother loves the idea of you more than she loves the reality of you. She loves you when you're performing the role she assigned, when you're making her look good, when you're not challenging her narrative, but when you have your own opinions, your own needs, your own life that doesn't center her. That's when the love feels conditional, withdrawn, weaponized. This reflection invites you to consider, does your mother's love feel safe, or does it feel like something you have to earn? Let me talk about what specific patterns you might be recognizing. It's possible your mother is emotionally immature. She has the emotional regulation of a child. She can dish out criticism but can't handle any herself. She needs constant validation but rarely gives it. She makes everything about her even when it's clearly about you. Or maybe she's covertly narcissistic, not the obvious kind, the subtle kind, the I'm just concerned about you while undermining your confidence. The I'm your mother, I know what's best, while completely ignoring who you actually are. She might play the martyr. Every conversation somehow becomes about how much she sacrificed for you, how hard her life is, how no one appreciates her, and you end up comforting her about your own childhood. Some people have mothers who are jealous of them, who can't celebrate their daughter's success without making a comment about their own perceived failures, who compete for attention, who feel threatened by their daughter's youth or beauty or opportunities. You may have noticed that you can't share good news with your mother without it being diminished. That's nice, but. Or, well, when I was your age. Or some comment that takes the shine off whatever you were excited about. And bad news either gets minimized, it's not that bad, or catastrophized, I knew this would happen, but rarely just held, witnessed, supported without agenda. This reflection invites you to consider, can you be your full self around your mother, or do you have to perform a version she can handle? There's something about mothers and daughters specifically that makes this complicated. It's possible there's this extra layer of expectation, of enmeshment, of your mother seeing you as an extension of herself rather than a separate person. She might live vicariously through you, or she might need you to fail so she doesn't feel like her own choices were wrong, or she might need you to stay small so she can keep feeling needed. Some mothers can't let their daughters individuate, can't handle their daughter having a different life, different values, different choices. Every difference feels like rejection. Every boundary feels like abandonment. You may have been made to feel responsible for your mother's emotional state. Like if you set a boundary, you're hurting her. If you live your own life, you're abandoning her. If you don't call enough or visit enough or prioritize her enough, you're a bad daughter. And that burden, that's not yours to carry. That's her work, her healing, her responsibility, but she's made it yours. And you've carried it because you didn't know you were allowed to put it down. This reflection invites you to consider, have you been carrying your mother's emotional baggage as if it's your job. Let me slow down and talk about why this hurts so much. It's possible what hurts isn't just the relationship itself. It's the grief of what you didn't get, the mourning of the mother you needed but didn't have. You watch other people have close, healthy relationships with their mothers, and you feel this ache, this longing for something you never experienced, this anger that you got dealt this hand. Some people go through their whole lives not knowing that mother-daughter relationships can be different. They think everyone just tolerates their mother, manages the relationship, keeps their real self hidden, but that's not how it has to be. And realizing that can be devastating because it means you missed out. You deserved better. You needed something you didn't get and will never get from her. You may be grieving the mother you wish you had while still dealing with the mother you actually have. And that dual reality is exhausting because you can't fully grieve while she's still here, expecting you to play the role of devoted daughter, still expecting you to pretend everything's fine, still expecting you to prioritize her feelings over your own reality. This reflection invites you to consider, are you grieving a relationship that's still actively happening? There's something about guilt that I need to address directly. It's possible you feel guilty just reading this, guilty for relating to it, guilty for having these thoughts about your mother, guilty for not being grateful enough for what she did provide. And I need you to hear this clearly. Acknowledging harm doesn't mean you're ungrateful. Recognizing patterns doesn't mean you don't love her. Setting boundaries doesn't make you a bad daughter. You can appreciate what she gave you and still acknowledge what she couldn't give you. You can love her and still protect yourself from her. You can honor the good while not pretending the hard parts don't exist. Some people will tell you to just forgive, to let it go, to remember she did her best. And maybe she did do her best, but her best still hurt you, and you're allowed to name that. You may need permission to be angry, to be hurt, to acknowledge that your mother's intentions don't erase the impact of her behavior. Because she meant well doesn't heal wounds. She had it hard too, doesn't undo damage. She's still your mother, doesn't obligate you to accept treatment you wouldn't accept from anyone else. This reflection invites you to consider, what would it feel like to let yourself be honestly angry at your mother? Let me talk about what you might need to do with this awareness. It's possible you need distance, not necessarily no contact, but space to figure out who you are without her influence, without her voice in your head criticizing every choice. Or you need boundaries, real ones, not just internal ones you don't enforce, but actual, I'm not available for that conversation, or I need to go now, or that doesn't work for me. Boundaries. Some people need therapy, need a professional to help them untangle what's their stuff and what's their mother's stuff, what's reasonable to feel and what's been programmed into them. You may need to grieve, actually grieve, not just push through or stay busy or pretend you're fine, but sit with the loss of the mother you needed and accept that she can't become that person. Because acceptance isn't about making peace with dysfunction. It's about stopping the fight against reality, stopping the hope that she'll change, stopping the belief that if you just try harder or explain better or love more, she'll finally see you. She won't. And that's not your failure. That's her limitation. This reflection invites you to consider what would change if you stopped hoping your mother would become who you need her to be. There's something about your own healing that matters more than anything else. It's possible the work now isn't about fixing the relationship with your mother. It's about fixing your relationship with yourself. Learning to give yourself the nurturing she couldn't provide, the validation the unconditional acceptance. Some people spend their whole lives looking for a mother figure in other people, in partners, in friends, in mentors, trying to get from external sources what they should have gotten at home. But external people can't fill that hole. They can supplement, they can support, but the real work is learning to mother yourself. You may need to learn what healthy love feels like, what it's like to have needs met without guilt, what it's like to be seen and celebrated instead of managed and controlled. And that learning, it doesn't happen overnight. It's practice, it's therapy, it's choosing different people, it's breaking cycles. You remain in complete control of how you navigate this. You can confront your mother. You can quietly distance. You can maintain a surface relationship while protecting your core self. You can go no contact. There's no right answer. Only what preserves your peace and allows you to heal. The power is yours. It always has been. You may notice reading this has brought up a lot. Maybe tears, maybe anger, maybe relief that someone finally said it, maybe denial because it's too hard to look at directly yet. Whatever it is, it's valid. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Trust yourself to know your own story. Before we close, I want to ask you something. What's one thing you wish your mother understood about you that she never has? You don't have to share it. Just name it for yourself. And this, what would it feel like to stop waiting for that understanding and give it to yourself instead? My mother, and it will hurt you so much when you find out about this. And maybe you already know. Maybe you've known for years and you're just now letting yourself see it clearly. And yes, it hurts. It's devastating to realize the person who was supposed to protect you sometimes couldn't, that the relationship you thought was normal actually wasn't, that you deserved better than what you got. But acknowledging that, that's not betrayal, that's truth. And truth, even painful truth, is where healing starts. Not eventually, right now, today. Trust yourself with this. Trust that you can love your mother and still protect yourself from her. You can honor her humanity and still name her harm. You can grieve what you didn't get while building what you need now. I'll see you in the next one. And listen, you didn't get the mother you deserved, but you can become the person who breaks the cycle, who heals the wound, who gives to yourself what she couldn't give. Start there. The rest will follow.